All right, John Dickinson in for Daryl the Guru Johnson, and let's do it. Let's go out to, I forget the town, but we're going to go out to the state of West Virginia and onto the property of the Greenbrier and bring in Cam Inman, Bay Area News Group, and our 95.7 The Game 49ers insider. Hey, Cam, here's where I'm going to start. For those who have never been to the Greenbrier, which is where the 49ers are practicing this week, try to explain what it is to somebody out here on the West Coast that doesn't know what it is.
Okay, I'm going to try to do it maybe through the geography of just what the terrain looks like. So you're in a valley kind of just ensconced with like really scenic mountains, right? And so maybe it's a little bit of a supersized Carmel Valley, where Carmel Valley has a few golf courses tucked in there.
Yeah.
And on a bigger scale, but then you obviously have this mega huge resort, like maybe like a Las Vegas style massive resort in terms of the square footage. And then I think there's like 4 golf courses, but then you go into the woods and there's a gun range. There is
falconry.
What's that?
Falconry.
I believe so. Nobody's talked about that. I asked Jimmy Garoppolo if he partook in any activities the last couple of days, and such as that, or some guys went off-wheel roading in the quads, and some guys went fly fishing. Anyhow, Jimmy said he's been watching, like he was answering this perfectly like a pro quarterback. No, I've been watching film and just studying stuff. He's like, but I did hit the casino.
Oh, they got a casino there.
There you go.
They have a casino there. I didn't ask him specifically what he was playing because I don't know how comfortable the NFL is yet with their gambling, that line that they've seen cross, where every team is now sponsored by DraftKings or whatever. Anyhow, so Jimmy was good about that. Everybody seems to be in a really good mood here. I mean, the interior of the Greenbrier, if you go online, I don't want to say it's obnoxious, but it's really alarming to your eyes. Just the colors, like the bright pinks and the like Augusta greens that are like everything that's in their carpet and curtains. That's what the resort's been, kind of their trademark, is like this nice old fashioned place you can go. And we did go on a bunker tour on Tuesday afternoon there because they built a fallout shelter during the Cold War that would house all the members of Congress in case there was going to be a nuclear war, where they would be able to sneak everybody to the Greenbrier and have like this bunker where they had beds, these like metal bunk beds and cafeteria and chambers that would be set up to conduct governmental business. So that was kind of interesting, a little bit boring, only because I kind of already watched a documentary on it, but I love cultured. So, I mean, it's honestly, like football-wise, it's a great spot for the 49ers because, one, you're so secluded and you're on the East Coast, so your body clock stays, in tune from beating the Panthers to ideally beating the Falcons this Sunday. And it's just kind of you're remote. You're away from family and friends, so there's no distractions, and it's that team bonding exercise that the Niners really enjoy doing. They've done this dating back the last decade when Harbaugh would have to take them to Youngstown, Ohio, and the Niners did that actually in Shanahan's, like in 2019. But this is their 3rd straight year in the Greenbrier. This is my 2nd straight year, and the media budget does not allow for most of the scribes to stay at the Greenbrier, so we're down the road about 10 minutes from there in the lovely town of Lewisburg, which is claimed to fame last year was called the coolest small town in America, and I bought a T-shirt yesterday that now says it's one of the coolest small towns in America. So I don't know if we did anything to ruin that last year.
Cam, I got to ask you just about the latest, really, with Nick Bosa and also Javon Kinlaw, with neither practicing again today. I mean, where do things stand with both of them? Not even for Atlanta necessarily, because why would you put either guy on that turf? But just kind of more of a longer term timeline within the season.
Yeah, I think Kinlaw and Eric Armstead are. I know Armstead's been ruled out. I don't expect to see Kinlaw out there since he hasn't practiced in a couple weeks. Bosa obviously is the biggest concern on the team, but it's not to the point, JD, where it's such a severe groin injury where he's getting a surgery, because he was out there testing it yesterday with the trainers. Maybe they just give him the week off to make sure he doesn't strain it further. Maybe he's so intent on not missing a game that he somehow plays, as risky as it may be on artificial turf. I mean, I don't think the artificial turf would impact the groin as much as it. That was more of the guys worry about that with their ACLs, the way this has unfolded over the last couple of years with the Niners and artificial turf. But it's kind of a mixed bag on that. I would imagine that defense is great as it's been all season. They haven't allowed 20 points in a game. It's going to be second stringers galore, except for four of their best players on defense, which is you got Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw at linebacker, you got Talanoa Hufanga at safety, and then Charvarius Ward, the cornerback, who's just had an outstanding start to his 49er career with 8 pass breakups and 4 last Sunday in Carolina. So, I mean, they can get by without Bosa, but obviously just his presence alone makes them such a more elite and feared defense.
Cam Inman joining us on 95.7 The Game. Writes for the Bay Area News Group covering the San Francisco 49ers. Cam, Tevin Coleman, obviously Kyle Shanahan has a comfort level with him. What does Kyle Shanahan like so much about Tevin Coleman? I see he was elevated to the 53-man also.
And that's kind of a procedural move they have to do because you can't keep a guy on the practice squad too long. But he complimented Jeff Wilson Jr. so well in Carolina as a receiving threat, too. I mean, Jeff can catch the ball pretty good, too, but he's basically been their main rusher. And Jeff had 120 yards and looked pretty good. But Coleman made some plays. And I think George Kittle described it really well for us kind of lay people after the game of saying what Tevin Coleman does is when he's running the ball, he can be the one-cut guy and then go. And but he sets up that block. So it's like somebody's sealing the edge or sealing a block. He will allow them to do it, and then he'll squirt through just the way the play is designed. And that means a lot in Shanahan's offense. And Kittle raved about it, and Kittle's such a blocking expert right now. It's like you really can sense the appreciation of Coleman. And when he was around back in 2019 when they were getting ready to go to the Super Bowl, he would start a lot of the games and kind of be that first punch into a defense just to loosen them up, and then they'd send Raheem Mostert's speed out there to burn past them where I don't think they're using that in the same way. It's more of this is Jeff Wilson Jr. Jeff's the kind of guy that needs to get in a rhythm, but you need somebody to spell him. And it's probably not going to help your offense if it's got to be Deebo Samuel week out. So right now, Tevin Coleman would be that too. And they're getting Ty Davis-Price, but they got Ty Davis-Price back in practice this week, but doesn't mean he'll be up for Sunday. And she was coming off the high ankle sprain. So somebody asked me earlier if they would trade for Christian McCaffrey or the Panthers. I said there's no way because this offense churns through running back so often, and McCaffrey would come with such a high salary and would cost him draft picks. Where I said there's no need for it really. The way Jeff Wilson Jr. is running, you have Tevin Coleman, and then Elijah Mitchell should be back in about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, I'd imagine, from his knee sprain.
Cam, what's your sense for just kind of generally where the 49ers feel like they're at atop the NFC West now, 3-2, they're 2-0 in the division, but also wanting to try to maybe avoid looking ahead a little bit toward next week in Kansas City and what could be a big showdown game?
Yeah, actually, you bring up earlier a point about that because it would be easy to kind of peek ahead at that, right? But because you're so ensconced here in the Appalachian Mountains, or you're in a bubble, and it's like your bubble right now is like we have to go down to Atlanta and we have to win that game. So you're not looking forward to the Chiefs. And I would say that there's a lot of pride, obviously, at how well they've done on defense. Offensively, and I wrote about this earlier today, is they sense that things are starting to click offensively now that Jimmy's kind of getting in his groove again with Kyle's play calling, and the offensive line's done okay the last couple of weeks, right, which allows you to utilize Deebo and George Kittle and Ayuk and Juwan Jennings, et cetera. But they also, like player after player and coach after coach, offensively speaking, we left a lot of points out there in Carolina, they would say. There were a lot of mistakes that we would never see, but they see, and that could have led to more points. And I get it because they had to try for a field goal or two. But that's like any game. So the fact that they scored 37 points, I thought really reflected well on them until you realize they just did it against the Panthers team where the coach and the defensive coordinator got fired within 24 hours after.
Hey, Cam, before I let you go, since his name's coming up, what about Odell Beckham Jr.?
Well, I don't know how he would fit into this offense. They're having a hard enough time getting Ayuk the ball, and they still love Ayuk. They love him a lot more than their last time at the Greenbrier a year ago when he was in the doghouse. So, I mean, if you got Deebo and Kittle still healthy, right?
Right.
they do love Odell Beckham, right? I mean, Kyle Shanahan's been on record saying how much he likes him. And Odell would be hungry to beat the Rams, right? And that's just judging from what he said about their lowball offer. If somebody gets injured against Atlanta or in the next couple of weeks, I could see that happening. Again, he's coming off of an ACL, so I don't know if he's past his prime, Odell. But obviously he brings a playmaking attitude to that offense, which kind of already has it with Debo and Kittle, and Jennings has shown up here a little bit, and they still have this Danny Gray rookie that they send downfield once again that the ball doesn't reach him. But it's kind of, they need to develop him. So I'm not in favor of that either. It's just unless they need the reinforcement, and which, you know what, the way this team is with their injuries, it certainly is possible.
All right, Cam, appreciate it as always.
Okay, my California friends.